Hey, we've got our caller on the line right now. Tracy, you're going to put it in? You're going to mess it up?
I got it.
Okay. Hey, Danae, are you there?
I am here.
Yes, I did it.
Hey, Danae.
Give her a cookie.
Hey, family. How are you?
All right. Hey, it's so good to hear you again.
It's been
It's
almost
so good
a year.
to hear you. I don't know how to act here in Charlotte, North Carolina, not being in the studio with y'all tonight.
It is a little bit different. Is it? At least tell me it's warmer out there.
Oh, you know it is. People around here walking around in shorts.
Hey,
but let me tell you, I'm a sister girl.
That's
I
what I
still got
call
my
a
pants on.
smart
I'm like,
woman.
don't let this weather fool you.
Yeah. And I want to leave Chicago as it is, but I got to stay here because my baby want to stay.
But you're looking great. I'm following you still, and you're looking great.
Oh, well, thank you. You all are looking fabulous. Like, no time has changed at all. And y'all better come visit. Look, bring your baby boo on down here. She'll change her mind.
I might have to come out there.
Okay.
Look, you know what I say. Don't threaten me with a good time. Come on, family. Let's do this.
Because we have snow here, so, we'll take anything to get rid of the white snow.
Oh, I'm so sorry for you.
Sure you are. So look, sure. So let's get up into this conversation here. You are a person I always consider this reinventing herself, resurrecting all types of dreams, doing what you do best, coaching people to be conquerors. So talk to us about one of your lines I really love is conquer life by design and not by default. Talk to us about that.
Oh, my gosh. Well, first of all, I had to sit back in my chair, and my eyes got a little bit watery, to be very honest with you, because as we know, when God put us on these paths and we're called and, designed to do what he's called us to do, we don't always see all the, exterior glory, if you will, that comes along with it. And first and foremost, of course, glory to God first and foremost,
Amen.
because I couldn't do it. We couldn't do it without him embedding the gifts and seeding the gifts in us there. So I'm truly honored and humbled by that, and that means a lot to me. So I thank you for speaking life into me there. Wow, that's big. Thank you. Really appreciate that. But truly, the first line, though, you can't conquer what you're not willing to confront, and we have to confront things in order to be able to acknowledge we're living life by default. And once we acknowledge that symptom, syndrome, season, if you will, that we have allowed to go on, then we can acknowledge and say, you know what, look at ourselves in the mirror and say, you know what, I know what I need to do differently. I know what God is speaking to me to walk in this divine purpose and calling, not for myself but for others. So then we can say, okay, you know what, let me be obedient to the word that I am hearing to, give life to what I'm being called to so that we can actually design that. And it's not just something by thinking it and talking the talk. Like, no, we got to put it into action and start systematically not putting the carriage before the horse, but rather the horse before the carriage to say, okay, you know what? And it's baby steps. We got to crawl before we can walk, and we got to do things courageously and boldly, and we do things afraid, because we all feel fear, and I always say, and I love how you all say it, of course, what is it? They see a story but don't know the backstory,
Right.
pretty much. And so in that, people see all of us, like you all, having this amazing show. And it's like, okay, we don't always, have everything go as planned, which God laughs at our plans anyway. Mm-hmm. But we do things, when we don't always know how they're going to happen. We just have to, step out on faith and trust that things, as it says, will go according to his plan and his will and not ours there. So, in closing on that is that we got to, one, step out there on faith and trust and make those things begin to manifest in our life. And no matter how afraid we are, we have to do those things afraid and courageously and boldly. And before you know it, you're not crawling, you're not walking, you're running in the purpose and reinventing yourself and resurrecting those dreams.
So today, let me ask you this. A lot of people, nowadays don't want to go through that reinventing themselves because of the fear of how much time that it takes to do something like that. Talk to me a little bit about how you came from one thing to another, and talk about some of the trials and tribulations that you came and how you was able to overcome them to be where you are now.
Good question. And what you first said, that's a whole topic in and of itself there, the time, because just like with relationships, it's like, oh, well, I done been with this person 20 years already, so I'm just going, no matter how bad it is, I'm just going to stick with them, another 20, versus saying, you know what, calling it for what it is, and like, you know what, I can have better, I can do better, because, of course, life is meant to be abundant. So for me personally, and let me just give the disclaimer, I'm not a corporate America person. I don't knock those that it's meant for, but for me personally, it was not my calling. However, I call myself, listening to, which is interesting, I just put a post out there on Facebook about dream killers, even those that aren't meant to steal your dreams. And the short version of this is, my oldest sister who was brought up, take care of your job will take care of you. And so, of course, our values come from our upbringings, and that was instilled in me until I stepped into adulthood and really began, God began to deal with me to say, you know what, you are just burning yourself, at both ends of the candles for something that I have not called you to do. And so I'm like, well, I was told, go to college, get that good job, and, build a name for yourself. But yet every day I kept feeling that yearning, that burning, that calling that, okay, God, there is something more for me in this world. Mm-hmm. And it was a struggle to your question, like, okay, I've been brought up to believe this one thing and kind of trained up to go this route, and if I deviate from this, then I'm not supposed to be doing it. It's a bad thing. But yet, I felt that yearning and burning so strong. It was like, you know what? I am burnt out at this point. I can't take another day at this job, because I would sit outside of my car. It got so bad. Mm-hmm. I remember one day I sat in my car and I cried because I did not want to go in to that job. So it's real. Yeah. And my body locked up where it wouldn't even allow me to go in, and I had to breathe and I had to pray, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm at that point. I know this is not for me. So I took that step of faith. That leap, really not step, it's really a leap of faith. You build your plane as you're flying, and I said, okay. So long story short, God showed me the coaching vehicle, and that I could use this to build a business on and use the gifts that He's called me to. So back in 2008 is when I got certified as a Christian life coach, and then I ended up in one aspect of career coaching, and I said, you know what, I can't just coach people from one job to another. It's got to be about their divine purpose and calling, because we're meant to be fulfilled. So from there, I did career coaching, then I did life coaching, and then God moved me into business coaching. And then, of course, He used, as you all know, our test turned testimonial in our marriage, the adultery, into a book, Love After Adultery, The Breakthrough Journey of the Brokenhearted, to do coaching around infidelity, recovery, and prevention. And so here I, stand, virtually before you today.
This is, so interesting, because you died the corporate death. So a lot of people, you actually took that leap of faith, like you said. You went on, you prayed to God, show me, guide me, order my steps, whatever we want to call it. You prayed to Him to lead the way. So many people have that fear of changing professions or doing something that they really love to do. Like early in our first, I was talking to our guest, B. Cole, about, hey, you know, this is a passion for you. So it's not as many people have a job that they love to do that's a passion, and they, people go to work. Rick, both was in unison with that. I hate going to this job. This is not for me. But to step out and say, you know what, I'm throwing all of this caution to the wind. I'm going to do what I need to do and make this work. And your journey has been beautiful. All the little baby steps to get you to this platform of where you are now with that dynamic book. Say that book again, the name of it.
Love After Adultery, The Breakthrough Journey of the Brokenhearted.
And see, that was her stepping stone as well to open up different doors and different things. Because, like, now you conquering coach. You got these women so on high right now that we feel like we superwoman. We could go out here and do whatever we need to do. But in essence of what we're talking about today, Danae, I want to ask you, how was this transition when you decided, I don't know if you was married then, and if you were, tell us how your husband thought about that you going from corporate America, and you was a bigwig in corporate America, to what you're doing now.
Yes. Wow, making me think back there. And you're right. please, listeners, acknowledge it is scary. But you know what? If it was easy, everybody in life would have it. So your dreams have to be so big that they scare you, because that's going to take you to the major next level to really expedite your results. So understand, it's going to be scary, and that's okay. But if God led you to it, He's going to lead you through it, and you have to trust and believe and stand on that. Because I promise you, no, this journey has not been an easy one. But let me tell you, it's been so worth it that I would not trade in my card, so to speak, today for what I dealt with before. Because that job that you hate is minute in comparison to the beautiful, the other side of it there. So it's scary, but before you know it, you get out there, and again, them baby steps turn into walking, turn into running, and the next thing you know, I promise you, you are soaring before you know it. So to answer your question, I love that too. Yes, died my corporate death, and it was beautiful. To be able, again, it was scary, but you know what? It was like, I got this. And at that time, no, I was not married. However, I was engaged, because me and my husband, we have been together a total of 16 years, going on 17, and married for, 8 of those, I believe. He's always better at the numbers than I am. But I know as far as, half, so let's say that. And at that time, I've really been blessed to have a supportive mate from the beginning, to believe in me. And, of course, it was scary for him, too, because we didn't know how this was all going to turn out, how it was all going to work there. But that is very important, a lesson I like to stress to everyone, to have a mate, a spouse who believes in you and encourages you, because there's going to be times where you don't believe in yourself, to keep it real. And when they believe in you, that is everything in assisting you to succeed in your dreams. So when I started out on this path, I can remember in the beginning where it was kind of now or never. And, after I transitioned, there was a period where I was getting unemployment. And I found out very quickly that unemployment will allow you to certify when you no longer will have benefits. So you're counting on this check to come in, and then the next thing you know, you have absolutely nothing in a matter of minutes and no plan. So we were down to truly one income with a household to maintain at a 2-income level. And so it's interesting how that will motivate you like never before. Like, you know what, I'm about to get my hustle on. Like, I've never got my hustle on before, and put that fire under your butt. And I believe that that was divine too. So I thank God for the fires under my butt to really make me move, because it proved to myself that I do have what it takes and that I can do this. And even though the smallest victories matter, because those smallest victories are what is going to show you that the bigger victories are yet to come, and they just keep evolving and growing until you do feel like you're becoming somewhat, successful at this thing there. So, yeah. To married, and now he's on this journey with me, and we're still having our ups and our downs on this entrepreneur journey. But again, he still believes in me and reminds me on those days where I'm still having, because everything, again, the glory. But there's some days where it's like, all right, I'm going to hit this floor. Like, this is not what was supposed to happen, but okay, God, I'm going to have this little mini pity party, and I got to get up on and get on with this. And I have him by my side reminding me of the best is yet to come.
So, Janae, talk to me a little bit about the in-between situation, because me and Brenda was also in the same situation before, and on our show we always tell the truth that actually at one time both of us was unemployed, and we didn't know where the money was going to come from. But look at God now, we're actually doing a radio show together with each other. But in between that time, it was, hard, because a lot of people don't have that get up and go. They got that get up and fight. I'm mad at you. How did you let this happen? How do you let this happen? Coach somebody right now, if you will, about how to get past those pitfalls of going against each other instead of staying with each other.
You better say that. And yes, we had that too, where there was times where it was funny, because one minute one was employed and the other one wasn't employed, and we were going back and forth. Then one time we hit rock bottom and neither one of us was employed. It was like, how in the world did this happen? But what I will say from a coaching standpoint to address your question is, in your marriage or even relationships, long-term committed relationships, but in your marriage, you have to be proactive. You have to, it's kind of like you don't wait till you get in the fire to figure out how to put it out. You have to say, you have to really, and I'm speaking from experience here, in honoring your vows. Because truly, there's going to be some times where what you think is worse is going to get worse. And you have to be prepared to say, you know what, this is a temporary season. This is not permanent. And then also evaluating the skill sets that you both have. And then what is it that I signed up for in this marriage? Because it wasn't just, and I mean, it might be in some people's cases, but let me say for the majority, it wasn't that you married this person because you were, married to him and his job or her and her job. You saw more in that individual, in their heart, in their spirit, in their soul, than just their career. So understand that, careers are not guaranteed. Like I said in the beginning, I was brought up to believe you take care of your job and your job will take care of you.
That's a lie.
Right. So we all know how that goes.
Yeah. Right. And that's so, old school, and I don't knock as far as, my sister who instilled that because her father instilled that into her. So it was only natural or so-called knowledge at the time to instill that in me. But as we know, look, you take care of your marriage, and your marriage will take care of you. Amen. So you need to make sure in advance that you're having those proactive conversations. So here's where the coaching comes in. Let's say, you know what, honey, and here's something that married couples should be doing on a weekly basis, and that has really worked for us, is having, weekly marriage meetings. And I learned this from our marriage mentors, where you're checking in on a weekly basis with the state of the household, what your finances look like, what they need to look like, and having a financial plan, and having that dialogue, that ongoing, consistent communication around the financials in the household. But not even just that. How's your marriage doing? Mm-hmm. How am I doing as a wife? How am I doing as a husband? Is there some things that you would like to see differently in the marriage and how to enhance that marriage? So these are conversations you're already proactively having on a weekly basis. So when the stuff does hit the fan, you are already equipped with that marital armor to say, okay, bring it on. We got this because we've already talked about this. We already have a plan for this versus waiting till you get into that fire to figure out how to put it out.
You know what's interesting about that? Rick and I used to joke every year before the clock and ball drops for the new year, we play like we're signing a new contract. Like, okay, did you do good in 2015? Am I bringing you into 2016? Or this is it, even though we know we ain't going nowhere?
A couple of times I was wondering,
boy,
I'm like,
please,
I don't know.
Please.
That last check, I'm like, I don't know.
I think you should renew your marriage license like your driver's license.
You think so?
Every 3 years.
Come on, Tracy. That's crazy. Hey, Janae, talk to me a little bit about some of the things that you're doing right now.
So some of the things that I'm doing right now, and you mean from a business standpoint?
Yeah, or anything, you got any events coming up, coaching or anything like that?
Interesting enough, I'm taking a 30-day hiatus because, and with the glory, again, to God, I just finished coaching a 1-year mastermind. So I spent a year with 12 beautiful, phenomenal, amazing ladies and helping them elevate their businesses. And so I am taking the month of March off to work on my business. Yes, amen, hallelujah. So what I have coming up within the next 30 to 60 days is a couple of things. Number one is I will be accepting applications for the next mastermind starting up at the end of April for the Courageous Conquerors Mastermind. So if there are emerging entrepreneurs or expanding entrepreneurs looking to launch their businesses and reinvent or grow their businesses, then I would love to work with you all. And then I am planning a Love After Adultery book tour that will be coming up. So I am in the process of looking for sponsors for just to start with a 2-city tour, and then, of course, that'll venture out to a 12-city tour as we go from 2016 to 2017. And the biggest project I'm most proud of is that in March I am developing what's called the Macklin method, which is the systematic process of how Chris and I were able to successfully overcome the adultery and putting a program together so that couples can go through this program. But I'm kicking it up a step further. I'm creating a certification program. So couples that have successfully navigated the Macklin Method program and are achieving great results in, resurrecting their marriage, rebuilding their marriage, better than ever before, they're going to be able to qualify to get certified in the Love After Adultery program to take this program into their churches, their organizations, and communities to be able to educate other couples and take them through the program so that other couples, too, will be able to save their marriages and create, a new happily ever after there. So those are some of the bigger things that I'm working on right now.
That's great.
She got a lot of things coming ahead. I mean, we just adoring you. Because, I was telling Danae earlier when I was speaking to her, I miss her being in the studio. I was so spoiled to her, just looking at her and just joking and stuff. It's something about when you're in here, but we love you on the phone and taking the time out to talk to us about everything. But I know you had another book that you did some writing with. What was the name of the second book? Was it a breakthrough or something?
Is two other. Yes. I have two other collaborative projects there where I co-authored a couple of books there and contributed to. And the first one, before my book even came out, was the beautiful book called, it's by Erica Gilchrist. She spearheaded this project, so I want to give credit where credit is due. And that is the emotional, I can't believe I just blocked the name of it as far as that quick there because it's a long title there. The Unstoppable Woman's Guide to Emotional Well-Being. Okay. So this book is amazing for any woman. Like, no matter what you are dealing with in your life, there is a story, a transformational story by women who have truly confronted and conquered some really big barriers in their lives there. So again, that is the Unstoppable Woman's Guide to Emotional Well-Being and how women can have a holistic life and really have their cake and eat it too in a, let's say, politically correct way, in an integrity, character-driven way. And then the other book that I co-authored was The Unstoppable Woman's Guide to Becoming an Entrepreneur. And these books are listed on my website on DanaeMacklin.com. So if anyone is interested in, checking out, kind of the chapters, the inside of the books, and what they really cover, they can find more details at my website.
Hey, Danae, so we thank you very much for being there. We know we're going to have you back again. Just before we go off the air with you, tell people again how they can get in contact with you for this inspirational coaching and that, that new book that you're writing, and that certification sounds great. Let them know how they can get in contact with you.
Absolutely. So they can contact me a couple different ways. The first one that I always encourage is definitely come over to my website and check me out, and that is DanaeMacklin.com. So that's DANAY, Macklin, MACKLIN.com. And I spend quite a bit of my life on Facebook. I'm a big Facebooker, so let's get social on Facebook. You can find me at either Speaker Danae Macklin or the Conquering Coach fan page. So again, that's the Conquering Coach fan page that I have, and then you'll find me on LinkedIn as Danae Macklin, on Twitter, Danae Macklin. So definitely hit me up on my website. I'd love to hear from you if you're interested in having a conversation. I offer complimentary discovery sessions. So, if there's a barrier, if there's something you need to confront and conquer in your life, we can talk about that and figure that out. Or, again, let's just connect socially on Facebook, Speaker Danae Macklin, and then the fan page, The Conquering Coach. And I would love to hear from you all.
All right. So, hey, put your, go to our Facebook page, put your information out there again so we can send it out to all the people that we have as well. We're going to have you back. We miss you in Chicago. I hate that you're in Charlotte with all that warm weather, but we miss you in Chicago.
How dare you? Mm-hmm.
Give your love to your family.
You all are missed too, so I'm wrapping you all in big hugs as if I'm in the studio because, you all are more than friends but family at this point. So I thank you for consistently and ongoingly to invite me back, technically into the studio and, having me with you all always. So I really appreciate any time you reach out and have me on.
And we will be reaching out again for sure. We love you as well, and thank you very much for being a part of Making Marriage Work. All right?
Thank you. Love you back. You all
Take
enjoy
care.
it.
Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All
Bye-bye.
right. So that was, it's always good to have Danae on the air because she's so inspirational. And
yeah, like I said, she reinvents herself. I love that. The fact that she's like, hey, you know what? I know the journey is hard, but this is something I need to do. And stepping out on faith. Like I said, her and B. Cole, they inspire me.
yeah, they are.